Hello, is anyone there? I'm going to give it till 2 o'clock. Waste of time.
Goal. Rutherford Hamburg is 0-1.
Hi, is anybody there? I'm going to give it till 2 p.m. No, nobody coming. Okay. Right, this is the one. Yeah. Hopefully we'll see some people here. all four of us now. So if you could just say hello if you've turned up. Make sure this is working okay. So you just say hello, please, in the chat. Hello, Jamie. Thank you. I'm sorry for the confusion earlier on. I don't know what was going on. So I'll just get rid of some of this now. And hopefully we can get going. So not much occurring early on. Celta Vigo should make the breakthrough at some point. Rayo Vallecano, very poor goal scoring record. It is a must win for these two. So a possibility of laying that draw second half. Hi Barry, thanks for coming along. Looks like we've got the right chat, so that's good. Utrecht and Feyenoord. Well, as you can see here, possibility of a goal from Feyenoord. Do you trust them before half time? Really impressive response. Likely to lack any value this match. So let's have a quick look. Feyenoord and Utrecht. As ever, this is what I will do, because it's not going to cost you anything. Cover that 0-1 for Utrecht. 12-second delay. Likely to be little value, I'm afraid, because the goal has come so early. So you might have to default to the half-time market. It's still going to be very much odds on in the match odds, 1.82. So if I'm going to use my usual route, I'm not going to get much of a return out of this. Still 1.81. We had this yesterday, didn't we? I think with, was it Tottenham? And we, or no, Leverkusen. And we waited for them till half-time to get to evens. So you could delay if you wanted, because I'll just show you this for an illustration. You're going to get very little return out of this match, and you'll need Feyenoord to win. You're going to get odds on return. Very poor. And you've got a big deficit if it ends up in a draw. Alternative, half-time score market, or even just the half-time market itself. We're back Feyenoord at 6.6 and lay Utrecht. Just always look to find a way to reduce your liability. So let's have a look. Laying Utrecht, not with a £20 liability, that's going to be too high. This gives you an option just to reduce the match odds. Again, you're flirting with a lack of value because the goal has come so early and they're such strong favourites. We're already up to £11 liability. So I would recommend, if you don't want to play, to delay. But always do a small back of Feyenoord as well. Looks like it was Utrecht didn't get matched. Big gap between back and lay, as you can see. But every moment we delay, as you can see, the odds are dropping, which is a big positive. So you could even just dip your toe in like this. Hope that Feyenoord score before the half-hour mark. And then you get a drift in the odds, or a shortening of the odds down to about 3.05, something like that. So that's an option. There's very little value at the moment. So just a nominal profit on the draw, perhaps. We're looking for that Feyenoord profit. I'll show you another route in if you wanted it. My advice would be lay over 1.5 goals and then just delay and hope that this remains 0-1 for long enough for us to get a little bit of value out of the market. Your other option with Feyenoord is to back 1-1 and perhaps 2-1 and any unquoted if they perform like 1.28 shots. But again, the odds are very poor. So our hands are tied pretty much, aren't they? So this is my usual routine. I keep the liability low, get it to about 10 quid. So there's very little we can get out of the market at the moment. The best thing to do is just to wait. Each second we're waiting, particularly in the half-time market, Utrecht's odds get shorter and shorter. Already down to, well, heading towards 1.8, just gone up a tad. Final odds get bigger, so you're going to get better value. Hi Stephen, nice to see you. Sorry for the confusion earlier on. It was, I don't know what went wrong with the Streamlabs. It broke off very quickly. So Feyenoord, you can see they're dominant. Likely to get an equaliser, but when? It's a bit like Leverkusen yesterday. When? They're highly likely to. You saw with Leverkusen hitting 100 plus on the attacking pressure index consistently, and that really was a match we should have really gone to town with. They come along not that often. When you get a team like Leverkusen, we could back them at 17.5. I mean, should have got stuck in. So that's the only one at the moment. Twente playing Heracles, normally for a 1.2 shot after 20 minutes. You'll be looking at 1-0, 2-0, any unquoted in the half-time score market. You saw yesterday we were a tad unlucky. We had two matches yesterday. We had a 1.2 favourite or thereabouts. Bang on the button. Rangers scoring a goal in 20 minutes. PSV scoring a goal on 20 minutes. Just bad luck. So that's a normal expectation, but we've got no shots on target yet for Twente. So I'm quite happy to just sit it out for the time being. Looks like Hamburg have got their head in front. Desperate need for promotion for Hamburg. Need to get straight back up. They're too big to be in the Bundesliga 2. I won't continue to monitor that one. Wien Wiesbaden and Osnabrück don't have an opinion here, but we've got a 1.95 favourite, a goal down. But the stats are not that compelling for Wien Wiesbaden. Only the one shot on target. 9 shots off target and 6 corners, 4 of them coming second half. They are pressurising Osnabrück. Are they keeping Osnabrück quiet? But they've just had 1 shot on target second half, 1 shot off target and no corners second half. Are you going to take a punt on Wien Wiesbaden here? Don't forget, this is one of those sides like Celta Vigo, Rayo Vallecano, must pick up some points. Twente motoring on okay, but not really performing like the 1.29 or 1.20 favourite we were expecting. It's the beginning of the Swedish Allsvenskan season. It's a watching brief, but once we get about 6-7 games under our belt, we can start researching. And they're going to be really good leagues for us to follow. We've got a 0-2 lead here for a 2.63 favourite. You might want to just speculatively have a go here. We've got absolutely no form to work off. What I'll do in the meantime is just to pick up the odds on favourites. Liverpool must win today because one of these two is going to take points off the other. And drifting Man City today. They were odds on, so I'll put them up. 3 out of 3 odds ons in the Bundesliga today. Feyenoord, as you can see, 1.30 favourite. We're normally expecting something before half-time for Feyenoord. They are knocking on the door, that's for sure. I would expect an equaliser from them pretty sharpish. Twente, as you know, no shots on target just yet. Suspended market, is that the Feyenoord match? Look for that red dot. Oh no, it's an Utrecht penalty, and we can't legislate for penalties at all. Just got to hope that Luc de Jong takes it, because he spoilt our trade for PSV yesterday by missing a penalty. That would have made that 3-1 into 3-2 with 9 minutes plus extra time. That's how key that missed penalty for Luc De Jong was. So we're just going to see if Utrecht will dispatch it. There's nothing we can do, I'm afraid, about penalties. That's just the luck of the draw. We just hope we get Stevie Wonder taking this one for Utrecht just to keep us at 0-1. Quillinshi Hartman is penalised for having a very silly first name, I think. That's why they were avoided the penalty. So we'll see if they dispatch it. I will top up. And this is why I was saying about delaying. And it looks as if, is it VAR or has the penalty been missed? No news just yet. Commentary here. Quillinshi Hartman penalised. They haven't told us about the penalty yet. So we will see. If the dot pops up, it means it's 0-2. I haven't seen anything there just yet. But certainly at 0-2, I would have another go. Faith in the odds. So we will see whether penalty's been awarded. Don't know yet. It's all up in the air a bit here. 28-minute penalty kick, yeah, but not been taken just yet. So let's wait and see there. And in the meantime, just collect our odds-on favourites. Spanish La Liga, Celta Vigo really should either win here today. Rayo Vallecano just cannot buy a win, having a terrible season. Picking up our favourites, don't look like, well, Real Oviedo today in La Liga 2. In the Allsvenskan, we've got Häcken, Hammarby leading, but these are all pure guesswork, of course, because you don't have any form to work off. And guess who scored first in the Liverpool-Brighton match? It's a very, very early Brighton goal. And again, that's going to offer us very little value at all, I'm afraid, unless we attack half-time markets. Don't forget, it's a must-win for Liverpool, and it's a Liverpool side who do their best work post 75th minute. I wonder if Brighton can keep them honest. So, again, it's going to be impossible to generate a value call here. We might just have to wait, a bit like the Feyenoord match. Your risk reward is far too high. Odds on favourites, just kicking off now in the Czech Fortuna League. We'll work our way down. So Liverpool-Brighton, I will perhaps break off and just cover that 0-1 at its lowest point, which will be now. And we've got a delay. Is that the Utrecht penalty, and has that been dispatched? We'll have to wait and see there. That's just bad luck. Sounds like it has been dispatched.
Feyenoord FC Utrecht is 0-2.
Yeah, 0-2. No panic. I wouldn't be panicking just yet. You know, and I know that it was a penalty. Feyenoord priced to get back into this, but would rather have done it the simpler route. So I'll just wait for the market to reform. So we keep your liability low in the half-time markets just for this eventuality. Liverpool and Brighton. Well, laying over 1.5 goals. We'll cover that 0-1. Highly unlikely to remain 0-1, as you can see here. So I'll be laying over 1.5 goals to cover that 0-1. You're likely to still get very, very short odds. Liverpool in the match odds, 1.67. Our hands are tied, I'm afraid. The only option you have is the half-time market, or, as I've said before, to wait and hope that Liverpool turn up second half rather than first half. Even here, you're not getting much out of this, are you? Half-time score, any unquoted, is only at 5.8, which is 3 goals or more for one of these sides. So as you can see, you're not getting much out of that at all. Unless you like these odds, 5.8 for any unquoted, 2-1 at 5.8 and 1-1 at 3.8. But you are increasing your risk. This is with a £40 available stake. It's a very poor risk return, isn't it? £25 to a £40 stake. Required profit, well, you could specify how much you'd look to earn or look to win. £28 at risk. We've got a suspended market. Is that the Liverpool match? Yes, it looks as if it is. So we'll just wait for confirmation here. And had you pulled the trigger rather than me umming and ahhing, looks like you'd have got yourself on the runway for a 2-1, 1-1, 2-1, any unquoted. As you can see, any unquoted looks to be the favourite. I think Liverpool will have equalised. It's not come up yet. No, they haven't equalised as yet. They still remain at 1.65. This is just emptied out again, which is really poor, isn't it? So that sound you can hear is the odds-on favourites coming in. That'll be Bannical Strava odds on. So no surprise from them. Let's get the Liverpool match up. Work our way down. It has an air of inevitability about it. Liverpool simply must win with Manchester City and Arsenal playing each other today. The only question is, can we generate some value? The only way to generate some value is in this half-time market, as I say. But again, it's very, very skinny. And you're taking a risk. You're asking Liverpool to do all of their best work in the first half, when you know and I know that their best work is usually done in the second half. Any unquoted? Again, we're normally used to any unquoted at 20s or higher. So as you can see, we're already greatly increasing our risk. And then just a break even, perhaps, just to keep liability low. So that's a £20 risk there. So you can check this, stake available. That will spread it at least. Yeah, but there's very little to work with, isn't there? I'll keep this at about, look for a £20 profit there. So as I say, in cases like this with odds-on favourites, the best method of attacking these matches is to wait. Get your lay of over 1.5 goals in and just wait. You're going to have a bit of a wait, and you can even wait to get involved in a half-time market as well. And Feyenoord have a goal back. So no panic at all. Did you get involved at 0-2? Did you top up at 0-2? I sincerely hope you did. I didn't, because I'm an idiot. But seeing that the second goal was a penalty, that was the key, wasn't it? The key factor, the second goal being a penalty. We can't legislate for penalties, but we should have topped up here, and I hope you did. Really should take the gift. 4.5 about a 1.28 shot, and we're not even halfway through as we are. We're heading towards half-time. So a goal before half-time, an absolute gift if you got involved there. I really hope you did. Yeah, 2-0, but don't panic. It was a penalty. Veen Wiesbaden coming to the end of the match. Do you fancy them getting the equaliser here? 90 on the attacking pressure index. You saw how devastating it was for Leverkusen yesterday. Yep, thank you for that. 1-2. Check the Liverpool team news. I don't think there's any major injury concerns for them today. Darwin Núñez would be worth looking or considering. Yeah, Núñez, Diaz and Salah. That's very strong forward line. It's pretty much a first 11, isn't it? Apart from Bradley for Robinson, I believe. Robinson injured again. Alexander Arnold out. Robinson out as well. Jota out. Allison as well. Big injury concern for Allison. But Kelleher in goal. We will see. Danny Welbeck getting the goal, ex-Man United. We'll be delighted with that. Feyenoord should have got involved or topped up at 0-2. As I did yesterday, I think, or the other day with Peterborough. And they got the goal to make it 1-3. Backing them at 30s, their odds dropped markedly, even though they went on to lose the match. Should have topped up here. Would have got a nice 4.5 or 5s about Feyenoord very fleetingly and take the gift of the goal before half-time. So no major panic here. We don't have the 1-2 covered by insurance, but if you wanted to, you'd lay over 3.5 goals. You can keep that 1-2 covered, but then you're eating into this, what was a very, very skinny profit beforehand, wasn't it? So missed a trick there. Liverpool, potential just to see if we can eke out a bit more out of the match. 104 for Van Wiesbaden, suggesting we might want to just have a dabble in there speculatively. Van Wiesbaden. 1.35. If you wanted to start here, by all means. It means your eventual liability will be a little bit higher. You could even put a bit more in, given the fact they're flirting with hundreds and the attacking pressure index. And as well as laying Osnabrück, you could be drip backing the draw as well. That'll cost you less than £1 to win £5. That way you'll benefit doubly if we get an equaliser from Van Wiesbaden. Sorry, we're backing Van Wiesbaden at 24s. That would be better, wouldn't it? Because it costs you nothing to win a fiver at 24s. And their odds will drop markedly if they can get a quick goal. I know there's not long left. If they make it 1-1 with these this attacking pressure index, as you can see, the draw odds aren't moving that much. So we'll just wait for the next lot. That's a good sign as well. They're reluctant to drop the odds for Osnabrück. So in the meantime, we can top up again at Van Wiesbaden. That's the only real value there. And that's ridiculous. 20s, 16, 15. Don't take that. That's totally wrong. So we're building a position on Van Wiesbaden here. I want to keep our liability low. This is only purely down to this. Look, 112. You saw what happened with Bayer Leverkusen yesterday at these kind of attacking pressure index stats. Got 2 late goals. So watch out. Liverpool 3 shots off target, starting to warm up nicely. Again, this is it. Illiquid. I might go for another fiver here, but not at 1.35. It's totally out of kilter. That's more like it. A bit nearer to 1.3. So we'll have a go there. Get that matched. And as you can see, the liability is bigger than normal when I do a lay the draw or lay the team late on, because the clock's not our friend. That's why I'd rather keep the liability far lower, because it's a bit of an ask, even though they've got extremely high expected goals. So hopefully that's why the draw odds, or Osnabrück's odds, are not dropping. Liverpool are starting to motor. Can they get that goal before half time? That's ridiculous. So do watch out for these in illiquid markets. You might get caught out. Someone putting up extremely stupid odds for you to lay at 1.46, for example. This is to catch the novices out. If you're a bit gung-ho, that's more like it. There we go, 1.3. And even I got caught out there. So I'll get another fiver in the bag. Hopefully Wayne Wiesbaden will get the equaliser, which they seems like they deserve. So let's just put back at Liverpool. The only real value for the Liverpool match, as I say, half-time markets. Now, by delaying, I know it's not long into the match, delaying another 5 minutes. Are we getting any more value out of it? Well, you're getting 10s now for any unquoted, which is a lot better. 6.6 for 2-1, 3.25 for the 1-2. So you see the value in delaying, particularly when it's an odds-on favourite conceding a very, very early goal. The market's not worried at all. Simple as that. So long left in the match for the sides to get something out of it. Just looking at the goals coming in, nothing of great interest there. So the longer we can keep it at 0-1, the more beneficial it is to your liability. If you thought this 30 was a little high, you can get out now. You can also get back in again a bit later on at lower liability, which is something I might do. Getting to odds on now, Brighton. Only 17 minutes played. Got suspended market. That'll be. Is that going to be the Wayne Wiesbaden goal? That would be very nice indeed. No, it's Mlada Boleslav making it 2-0. Randers making it 5-1. These are the odds-on favourites. Yeah, 5-1 to Randers. So I don't know. I'm not following any of those two matches. So I don't know why they were suspended. St. Pauli scoring their usual 2 goals when odds-on favourite. Get rid of that now. Mlada Boleslav, yeah, odds-on favourite. So there's no surprises there. Banach Ostrava, similar story with them. Not many odds-on favourites today, as you can see on the coupon.
This market has been suspended.
Suspended market. Is that Liverpool? Is it Feyenoord? Is it Wayne Wiesbaden? One of our matches of interest has suspended. Maybe half-time in the Feyenoord match. Red card for Osnabrück. Red card for Osnabrück. Hopefully that's followed up with a penalty. Hopefully Luke de Jong won't be taking that penalty. Now can Wayne Wiesbaden take advantage? No great impact on the market with that red card because it's a 90th minute red card. But it does make that Wayne Wiesbaden a lot more interesting if they can get 2 quick goals. Depends how much Fergie time is left. Again, you're playing in a liquid market here. You see the gap between back and lay odds. Just be careful as a layer. You want to be nice and tight. Nice and tight. So once this gets below 1.3, might start having another look with that red card for Osnabrück. It's just pumped the draw odds up a little bit more. Nantes have the opening goal against one of the only odds-on favourites in France today. That's Nice. So let's just make sure we monitor that match. Nice against Nantes. 1.85 favourite today, Nice. 5th in the league. Nantes, 16th. So prepare for another one of those relegation-threatened sides busting the coupon, as they've tended to do quite a lot. Look at this from Hamburg, coming up to the 90th minute as well.
Goal. Nice Nance is 0-1.
Nice Nance. So watch out. We've got Wayne Wiesbaden and Hamburg, 2 potential speculative plays. And again, look at the Osnabrück odds. They're just not budging. I know there's total lack of liquidity there, as you can see. 1.28, 1.42, and then 390. So can they do it? It's like Chinese water torture. This, looking for the Osnabrück odds to drop. You can choose your own odds. Don't forget. Pop down 1.25, and then again my usual route 1.19, then 1.14, then 1.09, up that to 11 quid because it's just under a £1 liability, and 1.06 in case we get a late flurry from Wien Wiesbaden. Yeah, my 6 has stopped working for some strange reason, so I've got to use the other one. There we go. So let's hope that Osnabrück can get something out of this. Amorebieta red card in Secunda Division away at Alcorcon. It's 1-1, so that might be of interest as well. Let's just break from this and have a look at Hamburg, who desperately need to get out of the Bundesliga 2, probably under the name Hamburger. Desperately have to get out, and this is short enough to lay that draw. You saw Hamburg's pretty good stats. Motivation at this stage of the season means it's good to take action. 6 shots on, 11 off, 7 corners. Did light up the attacking pressure index a little bit earlier on. 1.56 expected goals ratio, but this is what you like to see. A lot of action coming to the end of the match. In matches, the teams could do with a win, Osnabrück especially. But look at this concerted pressure from Wien Wiesbaden. Can they get that draw? That would be superb. Liverpool, no shot on target yet. 7 off. Plenty of secondary pressure. And as a 1.3 favourite pre-match, we did normally expect of Liverpool a 1-0, 2-0, any unquoted in the half-time score marker. But in this case, after 20 minutes, you'd normally be expecting a 1-1, 2-1, any unquoted in the half-time score market. But you know that Liverpool do a huge amount of their best work, 75th minute plus. So they're not obliged to get that goal before half-time. They certainly have the 3 stars up front, who has managed to get those 3 star players. So Hamburger, have I placed all my plays? Got a suspended market. So we'll wait and see there. That'll be the final match. Half time at 1-2. So getting that goal before half time for Feyenoord. Oh, well, that's a big shock. Osnabrück making it 0-2. So it will cancel out all of my other work, all my other plays, and you'll be left with a £13 liability. That's just the way it went. I have to trust the in-play stats, I'm afraid, and the red card. 111 attacking pressure index. I would have always done a team like this with these kind of stats. Always. But we got done by an Osnabrück goal. Guess what? It's another team overperforming because they desperately need those points. Let's just get that up. Look at the live standings. That will tell you the story of Osnabrück's win. It's still showing 0-1 there. Well, they are bottom, and they're still bottom with that win. They look down, but this is where they'll be aiming. 29 points. Greuther Fürth and Hamburg ends 1-1, but again, oh, they got the equaliser, did they? I'm not sure. No, we were laying the draw, so this is all a little confusing. Soccer 24 hasn't updated its scores. Now, the Osnabrück goal disallowed, so we breathe a sigh of relief and hope that normal service will be resumed. So it remains 0-1 with that red card, but the clock is not our friend, as you can see there, 98. Hamburg, well worth doing. Liability a lot lower in the Hamburg match. Okay, it's Hamburger, isn't it? So £1.23 liability, that's all right. I'll take that. Match must have finished early. So I'm happy with that. Well worth doing at this stage of the season because of the desperate need for points. You can see Osnabrück really need those points, but Wien Wiesbaden could do with it as well. Dominant force, but 18th in the league, bottom of the league. We saw yesterday performances from Sheffield United and from Burnley and from Luton above expectation, only because of their league position. So let's have a look. These have all ended. Likely that's going to remain 0-1. Celta Vigo, second half has begun, but no shots on target for Celta Vigo. So let's just VAR Osnabrück. Thank you very much. Let's just get the research up. So we were looking at Celta Vigo and Rayo Vallecano. We know Rayo Vallecano struggle.
This market has been suspended.
Celta Vigo are 5 points above the relegation zone. Rayo are 7 points above the relegation zone. So 3 points would be extremely effective for these two. And Liverpool equalise. Good stuff. If you got involved in the half-time market, that's a positive. Let's see how that's impacted upon the odds. Had really had to go half-time, couldn't we? Because the match odds 1.68 for Liverpool, ridiculously short. That's, I wish that was the case, but that's not the case. So we got 23 quid on the one, and there's a Celta goal, for God's sake, man. I was just going to say that must win. Play that draw. Oh, we've got to target these games. There was the draw, the last draw odds 1.73. So that's what we could have got, an odds on Celta Vigo. You can see that 1.73 all the way up to 5.5. That would have been good later back. So please remember at this stage of the season, 17th against 16th, must win. I was just going to have a read of this, probably come to the conclusion that we've got to lay the draw, but it was a 0-0 last head-to-head. Celta are unbeaten home and away against 15th and lower. You'll be favouring Celta. Rayo unbeaten home and away against 17th and lower. Yeah, fair enough. Both sides are okay against fellow strugglers. Recent form is with Celta Vigo. 5 points above the relegation zone. Draw, win, loss, win, latest for them. 3 consecutive home defeats ended with a 1-0 win against Almeria. Must win because they're so near to the relegation zone. Take 3 points off your near rival. Boost your points tally to 8 above the relegation zone. And that puts Rayo behind you now. So should have laid that draw. It's gone back to 0-0. That goal has been disallowed. So maybe it's another shot across the bow for us to lay that draw. But at no shots on target. I will lay it. I'd like to lay it a bit later. It is a must win. Twente and Heracles 0-0 at half time. 1.2 favourite Twente, again severely lacking shots on, shots off and corners, weren't they? So not a 1-0, 2-0, any unquoted half-time score market for that particular match. But they look well placed, Heracles, Twente, if they can do the job. 1-0 defeat against PSV, that's not a problem at all. They're only really losing against big sides like Utrecht, relative to the league, of course, Utrecht, PSV. So Twente are having a decent season, they're third in the league. Got that Liverpool equaliser. So there we go. You could take a £14 green screen already if you fancied. But hopefully Brighton won't score the next goal. That's the negative here. If Brighton score next, we don't have that covered. We're making an assumption that Liverpool will dominate from here on in. So you can take your green screen. And if you're new to trading, I would always recommend taking a green screen. The difference between 15 and 23 is negligible, really, isn't it? So that's quite a good green screen to take with 15 minutes of the half to go. And most importantly, it will ensure that 30 quid is returned. You don't want that liability on the table for any longer than needs be. But something's gone wrong here. Any unquoted hasn't been matched. That's why we're only at a tenner. So let's try again. But it's important to get that 30 quid back into your bank. That's better, isn't it? £15.77. There we go. Okay, the first green. Any other way to have played this match? You could have gone correct score, 3-1, any other home. 3-1 being the biggest scoreline. Again, we're making big assumptions that Brighton won't score that second goal. Half-time market. Let's have a look at the odds swing there. And we're talking the best case scenario, sevens for Liverpool in the half-time market. Boom, all the way down to evens. So if you're looking for trading moves, that's a pretty good one. Laying Brighton from 7.5 down to 2.5 and starting going low, zoom, you're back up to double figures. So if you're looking for trading swings, the half-time market is very useful indeed, isn't it? Particularly for these shorties, as you can see there. Let's have a quick look through. We're not going to be playing Bromma. It's the start of the new Swedish season. We'll be playing Sweden once it's up and running. Do be wary of the potential to lay that draw, Celta Vigo, Rayo Vallecano, in desperate need for points for both teams. But that no shots on target is the negative. 0-0 last head-to-head is the negative. Only a 1-0 win against Almeria as well. They're not exactly goal merchants, but we did have that shot across the bow earlier on of that Celta goal disallowed. It is a must win. So if I'm not going to lay now, I will be laying later on. Got to cover these must wins, particularly when it's a 0-0 draw later. 3 points is a season changer, literally, for these two. 20, we'll be looking second half for potential to lay that draw. Liverpool look well on top now. Cruise control. You could have waited in the half-time market. You could have assumed, rightly so, looking at the stats, that we're going to see a 1-1, 2-1, or any unquoted. You'll be just making a marginal profit above that £15.70 green. Nice and Nantes, well, we'll be looking for something from Nice, coming off the back of 3 consecutive defeats, one of them in the Cup, and 2 2-1 defeats. So they are scoring and conceding, Nice. Let's have a look at Nantes' 3 defeats recently. Strasbourg, Marseille, and Metz. So tended to concede 2 goals. So they might be vulnerable today, I would say. This Nice side do have some familiar names. Let's see if we can find Nice. Probably best to look. There we go. We've got some very familiar names from the Premier League. Nice topping up their tans, no doubt. Yeah, might be on the bench though. The familiar names. Or am I getting it mixed up with Lyon? I think I'm getting it mixed up with Lyon. Lyon are the side who have brought the familiar names in, and they've played already. So not the case. I think they did have Ross Barkley, didn't they, Nice? But 0-0, 1.8 favourites, so well worth monitoring that match. Although this says 0-1. So we've got a bit of a problem here. I would tend to default to Soccer 24. But they're actually showing the, there we go, there's the goal, and it's not showing there, but it's showing there. So that's very confusing. I don't know why that's the case for Soccer 24. No, I don't know why. So let's go through and have another look. So every moment we delay, you've seen that was about 1.67 down to 1.53 now. Getting a lot better, isn't it, to lay that draw. Don't forget the 0-0 last head-to-head. No shots on target either. It's a must win, though. Must take points off your nearest rival. I would love that to get to 2.5, 1.25, I mean. That'll be really nice short odds. Liverpool, can they get that goal before half-time? Doesn't matter, we've greened up. Certainly lay the draw if we can get decent odds second half. You know how good Liverpool are late on. Talking 75th minute onwards. Nice starting to wake up ever so slowly. It does look to be a 0-1, but Soccer 24, there's some slight concerns there. Rapid Vienna already 0-2 up, 2.15 favourite. Just check the goals there because not exactly emphatic stats, are there? So let's have a look at Rapid Vienna. Might be gettable. You saw Sheffield United. Best to get these sides when they're leading by 2 goals. 2.1 only. It's not a strong favourite. It's a championship group, so Hartberg deservedly top half. It looks like Mr. Gruhl. And one of the goals was a penalty. So that might just take the gloss off that 0-2 scoreline. It's all dependent on whether the odds are short enough for us to have a play. So let's have a look. Hartberg and Rapid Vienna. Well, yes, certainly. 1.09. Got to have a go. Second goal, a penalty. 2.10 only. They're not obliged to lose, of course, but Hartberg do have a decent forward line. That boy Tadic, if he's still playing. And at 75s, might as well have a little tickle. There we go. That's a very low liability for a potential £260 profit. We're not after that, of course. We're looking for the next goal to be scored by Hartberg and to be scored quickly or soon by Hartberg. That's the only reason we're backing them at 75s. We want that next goal to be a Hartberg goal. And it's the beginning of the second half, so there's plenty of time. The in-play stats as well. Not suggesting that Rapid Vienna were all over them. 1 shot on each, 2 shots off, near enough each, and a very low corner count as well. So not being overwhelmed, Hartberg, by any stretch. A couple of 1-0 wins for Hartberg recently in the head-to-heads. So they'll have that to look back on. They did get an absolute hammering from Red Bull Salzburg. They haven't scored that second goal, apart from a friendly, in quite a while. That's a slight negative there. But Rapid Vienna went through a run of 3 matches without that second goal. And don't forget, that second goal today was care of a penalty. So they might still be having problems in attack. But certainly at these odds, you've got to have a little bit of a look. Very, very short. Well worth our attention, I think. So I'll just pass this on to Telegram. Good afternoon. Hartberg 2, Rapid Vienna 0. No, sorry. Hartberg 0, Rapid Vienna 2. Given the fact Rapid Vienna were only 2.10 favourite pre-match and the fact they've struggled to score that second goal, the second goal today was a penalty. I'm happy laying them at 1.09 and a small back of Hartberg at 75s. The in-play stats are very similar for both teams. Keep your liability low. but to have yourself a good opportunity if Hartberg can score the next goal. It's a tight enough match. So I think we might have a good chance there. So we've got an obvious play here. If there's a way in second half for Feyenoord, let's just have a look. You could lay over. Let's have a look. Laying over 3.5 goals. So this is if you wanted a chance at a bigger profit. Lay over 3.5 goals to cover that 1-2 scoreline. You've got a 12-second delay. So just be wary with that. Odds might shift during the delay. And match odds. Well, Feyenoord +1 is probably going to be far, far too skinny. I'd say 1.3, 1.4. 1.4, yeah. So far too skinny. But what you can do, you could top up here, knowing that one of these liabilities is covered. Or indeed, you could cover both. Let me just show you. Back in Feyenoord, you can get better odds now, 2.56. I've had a couple of late shows recently, so hopefully they're in a similar mood today. Utrecht have really struggled against the top 5 if my research or my memory is good. So we lay Utrecht half stake as liability, back Feyenoord half stake. And what you can do, like I did with PSV yesterday, and I'll show you that one. So I've got a big liability at 78. Just up this to 78. It's not going to cost much at 1.15. I did this yesterday with PSV when they got their first loss of the season against NEC yesterday. I made sure I got that 3-1 covered for NEC, and it paid off because of that missed Luke de Jong penalty. So it's only costing you 11 quid. So if it does end in a draw, it'll be quite an expensive draw. We're hoping that Feyenoord will score the next goal early enough to start getting these odds moving. But as things are, we've got the 1-2 covered. We're making an assumption again that Utrecht won't score the next goal. 2 shots on 5 off and 8 corners again. We're lacking those shots on target for an odds on favourite. We've had this pattern for a number of days, haven't we? These odds on favourites. Peterborough started it all off. Only 2 or 3 shots throughout the whole match. We had that with Tottenham yesterday. Really struggling for shots on target. I don't know if the international break has any impact on it at all. 20 and Heracles, we'd be looking to lay the draw at some point. 43 dangerous attacks to 7. Only the 1 shot on target for 20, though. That's a problem. Liverpool looks an obvious. It's going to lay the draw at some point. They're going to score that second goal you'd expect. They've got the big boys up front. It's a real first 11. Apart from Alexander-Arnold and Robertson, the wing-backs. But apart from that, it's the strongest 11 I think he can put out. And Alisson missing as well. You'd expect that draw to be ending at some point. Nice, just keep an eye on these stats for Nice. Again, it's very underwhelming from them. By delaying here, remembering this was a 0-0 last time these two met, we're getting to the stage where I like to do a drip lay. Don't forget it's a must win. But you do have that 0-0 last head-to-head. I just wanted to show you that PSV from yesterday, if I've saved that. Because it was a good example. So, I laid over 4.5 goals yesterday. Laid over 4.5 goals. While it was 3-1. That made sure that Luke de Jong missed penalty didn't cost me. So it was a big liability on NEC Nijmegen yesterday. So that negated by that. So that was a really good, it turned out, play. But had that Luke de Jong goal, that penalty gone in, I think we'd have been okay yesterday. I think they'd have found that third goal. And there's that Twente goal. Should have laid that draw second half, but just couldn't see that shot on target pattern. But definitely a lay the draw second half on that 1.2 favourite pre-match. I'm a bit hesitant because of Leipzig yesterday. That 0-0 against Mainz, that's messed with my head a bit, that one. Absolutely bossing the shots on, shots off. Couldn't cross the line. Real pity. Feyenoord, highly likely to end that Utrecht lead at some point. So I might pass this one on to Telegrammers. Feyenoord against Utrecht in the Dutch Eredivisie. I've laid over 3.5 goals to cover the current 1-2 scoreline. And I've gone to the match odds and backed Feyenoord half stake, lay Utrecht half stake as liability. Okay. So Nice is half time now. Hopefully they get a decent team talk. I haven't researched French Ligue 1, but we can have a quick look now on a quietish Sunday. Not as good as the last Sunday we had, where it was just a brilliant coupon, wasn't it? Sunday coupons can be pretty poor. So let's have a quick look at this. Nice and Nantes. Why are Nice odds on favourite? Why are they a goal down? So let's just take a look at the seasonal form for these two and the most recent form as well. Have Nice been struggling? Have Nantes been performing? They did get that win against Toulouse recently. Well, Nantes are struggling, aren't they? So on that basis, sporadic wins. But Nice themselves have struggled. But look into context. We've got the context of the... There we go, Nice at home. Only 2 defeats against 2nd and 14th. Pretty good stuff. They're playing 16th today. That was a 1-0 loss. Feyenoord make it 2-2. Excellent news. Excellent news, particularly if you topped up. We should have topped up at 0-2, shouldn't we? So that's a lesson for you to learn. Don't be afraid to top up. Don't panic when it's a 0-2, particularly if the second goal was a penalty. That final goal, well, it's just been disallowed, bar stewards. So Nice at home struggled with that second goal against 10th and lower, only on the one occasion. That's a potential negative. 1-0 defeat last time. Can we take on Nantes on that basis? Are they really going to score a second? Nantes wins have tended to come against 11th and lower, as you can see. They don't tend to score that second goal against the top 10 away from home. Can we rely upon that today? So you're putting all that recent poor form for Nice into context, aren't you? It looks as if they've been playing better quality sides recently, and mostly away from home. Because at home they look pretty robust. Don't tend to concede that second goal that often. When they have conceded that second goal, it's resulted in defeat. Nantes don't tend to score that second goal themselves against the top 10 away. So if it wasn't for the poor in-play stats, we might have a play here, second half. What a pity with Feyenoord, because that would be perfectly timed. 10 minutes into the second half, the market would be thinking, this lot are really up for it today, Feyenoord. Hi Mark, it's nice to see you. A Vigo goal disallowed. Don't forget to do a bit of drip laying late on, Sean. And VAR for Osnabrück. So let's head off to Celta. It's a must win, isn't it? So the longer you delay, you are at risk of the goal coming in. But these are a couple of dodge pots, aren't they? They are 15th and 17th. So start drip laying the draw. 1.25, 1.19, 1.14. $1.09, That'd be to win 11 quid. And then 1.06. This is only one option. You could put your whole liability on that draw. That way you'll make better profit rather than waiting for me, like me, for a very, very late goal. But doing it this route, I'm factoring in the fact that the clock is not our friend. So I've got to keep my liability low because it's highly likely we're not going to come out of it with a profit. But motivation can do strange things at this stage of the season. Just a reminder to you, if you played the half-time markets, well done. Particularly the half-time score market, the Liverpool match you'll be paid out on now. If you stayed in, you'll have made a bit more than, of course, if you cashed out. Looks like the markets have all disappeared now, the half-times. Or have they? Yeah, looks like the half-time. I wanted to capture that one. But it disappeared. No, I can't find it. That was about a £15 green screen for Liverpool there. Equaliser before half-time. I don't know what's going on here. Look, it's moving of its own accord. Hopefully this market still remains. Yeah, there it is, £15.72. Could have been 23, and you had the 2-1 covered. You had any unquoted covered as well. So have a think about these half-time markets when a very short price favourite concedes first in the first half, of course. Just waiting for final to get that second goal. What a pity. 55th minute would have been perfectly timed. Suspended market, is that a Celta goal? I don't know. No shots on target. 11 off, but desperate need to win to keep your liability low with Celta Vigo. So Celta Vigo, Rayo Vallecano. Still just got the one amount left. As you can see, the risk-reward ratio is pretty good, isn't it? That's what I like about doing this technique. And if everything gets matched, it's equivalent of about a 10-to-1 return, which is pretty decent. Must win. So 1.25 and lower is a perfect opportunity to see if you can capture that late goal. You'll see the importance. If you go to the live standings, which you will be needing this April, get used to these live standings. They will tell you everything. And it'll just give you a motivation factor as well. You've got the pressure of the clock running down. 28 plus 2, because they've already got a point factored in for the draw. That brings up to 30 for Celta. And they'll have the positive goal difference. Or will they? It'll be, yeah. They'll have the positive goal difference. They'll swap positions. Rayo Vallecano with a win, take to 32 and zooming up to nearly 13th or 14th. 32 to 25 is a comforting 7-point gap. So that's why be keen to lay that draw. But we acknowledge the clock is not our friend. Let's just see whether VAR cocked it up. No, doesn't say. But that would have been a lovely timed goal before the hour mark for Feyenoord. It really would impact the market hugely. I hope we're not going to rue that goal not standing. As you can see there, putting in a really good shift. 87 attacking pressure index, 3 shots on, 8 off, 9 corners, 69 dangerous attacks, 12. The only thing we could have done with that second goal and the 55th minute, that would have been rather nice. Looks like Hartberg, well, that's why Rapid Vienna was such short odds. But when you see stats like these, it looks like a very, very tight match. Even the dangerous attacks are tight. So that's the reason I would have got involved there. Very, very tight indeed. Liverpool an obvious lay the draw second half. If I suppose delaying would be a good option, given Liverpool's record of getting out of jail. Don't forget, this is a must-win. You've just got to win. Man City and Arsenal playing each other later on. Must win. Draw odds far too high. If you're looking at the market being accurate, then 3-1, any other home win, 6.2 and 4.6. That's if you trust the market. 1.3 pre-match favourite. This is the kind of approach if you wanted it. You could include the 2-1 if you wanted, and the 1-0 as a break-even. See how much it would cost you using variable profit Dutching. And again, I'm making a big assumption that they're not going to land a blow, Brighton. But again, look at the liability when you start hedging the current scoreline. Drop that down to 23. So that's not the culprit. Maybe the 2-1 is the culprit. Down to 18. So that takes half of your liability away if you're not taking these insurances out on the 2-1 and on the 1-1. You're using variable profit Dutching. So it looks like the liability is a little bit too high, doesn't it? So just experimenting. Required profit throughout, 50 quid liability. Stake available, only an £8 return. So it's a very poor odds on bet, that one, isn't it? It's less than 1 to 2. But that's getting all of your current scorelines ticked and assuming Brighton won't be the next goal scorer. We can have a look second half. Delaying is a good option. You know that Liverpool record. Probably visualise it for you, just to give you that confidence if it remains 1-1 late on. Heading straight on down. I normally use the head-to-heads, so this is a different format. It's heading on down. That should give you a bit of a clue where Liverpool are at the most devastating. 24 goals scored, 76 to 90th minute, home and away this season. 10 of them at home. 24 out of 38 goals scored at home have come second half. That's 2/3 of Liverpool goals scored have come second half. That's how confident we should be. A bit like Leverkusen yesterday. Even if it's 1-1, 85th minute, Liverpool have pulled it out of the fire with very, very late goals consistently. So that's something to look forward to.
Goal. Feyenoord FC Utrecht is 2-2.
Yes, we got that 2-2 at last. Good. And it not come too far after the disallowed one, which is always good news because it stops you from sweating and umming and ahhing about when or if they'll get that equaliser. So you should get a decent shift in the odds with half an hour to go. Although that is, oh boy, £8.59. So in cases like this, you're going to have, well, you could get out with a kind of a break even now if you're not happy.
FC Utrecht is 2-2.
It's gone up to 13. Gone up to 13 quid, so you can come up with a break even if you don't want to risk this huge 78. Getting rid of this 26 is going to be a bit troublesome at 2.62 for the draw. But it's always worth investigating. It's just how much of the profit on Feyenoord it will take out. But if you're happy to take that £26 loss and the £11 loss on insurance in the hope of winning 62 quid, by all means do so. Use a variable profit here. You can have a play around. How much would it take out of that 62 quid to get rid of that 26? Well, that's all right. Probably going to take another 8 or 9 quid out to get rid of that Utrecht 70 quid. And now it's getting a bit silly. All the way down to 30 quid now for Feyenoord. So £27 profit. But more importantly, you'll have had that £78 and that £26 reduced considerably. So that's an option for you. Don't forget that 62 is not promised you. That 26 is currently promised you, that loss, if things remain the same. Looking at the match, a good response from Feyenoord. You're always a bit worried with a 1.2 shot that they're not going to get that second goal, particularly if they go 0-2 down. 1.28, we're expecting, as you know, say it with me. Well, it's not 3-0, not 3-1, but any other home score. 3-2 or any other home score in this particular instance. You could take insurance out again by laying over 5.5 goals now, I think it'll be. No, over 4.5 goals. But again, it's going to cost you a lot. But that probably to cover that 27 quid there, plus your 13 lost it. That makes 26, 37 quid. Just see how much it will cost you. At 1.43. Cost you 16. And you'll have that 2-2 covered. So if Feyenoord go on and win, you'll be losing that 16. 27 minus 62. So it's about 27 quid. 62, 52, 42. About £35 green screen. So is that worth doing? It doesn't seem worth doing, does it? Because you'll have the same result. That will have reduced that down to 30 odd quid. So if we just reduce the draw, then you'll still make a £49 profit here. And you can always start working on the Feyenoord odds if they get higher. Again, we're making a big assumption that Feyenoord aren't going to score that third goal. Don't forget they have scored 2 already, albeit one of them was a penalty. So I might look into that, reducing my liability on the draw, but keeping it on Utrecht. That 15, well, it's not real, is it? Because you've got that £11 insurance premium. So, as I say, it's your break-even option if you wanted it, that 15. If you're not happy with the way Feyenoord have approached the game, if you're not happy with the fact that they haven't got the goal early enough to your liking, then you can get out. Köln have equalised against Augsburg. That's interesting because Köln both teams desperately need points, but Augsburg really should be an opportunity for them today against a side with, I think, only 3 wins all season. So let's have a look. 7th against 17th. A win for Köln will take them into the 3rd bottom place, which is, for them, vital because it gives them another shot at a relegation playoff with the German Bundesliga 2 side. 4 consecutive wins for Augsburg. 2 consecutive tight home wins, 2-1 and 1-0. So they'd have to be looking for another 2-1 today. Only 3 home losses for them against 1st, 2nd and 18th. Pretty decent form. 1-1 last head-to-head. Both teams have scored an all-bar 2 at home. Well, that's occurred again. I wouldn't have laid Augsburg myself, given Köln are pretty pants. Only 3 wins all season. Have we got another goal from our pals Feyenoord? Yes, we do. Oh, that's lovely. Perfect, as Pop Larkin would say. Time to cash out. Now, you didn't have to. Well, I didn't have to negate that liability on the draw because I could have said to myself, there's 20 plus minutes to go. The tide has turned. 20 minutes to get 1 more goal with home advantage. Why not take a risk? But now we're entering green territory. Feyenoord have managed to get that 3-2 win. So time for you to cash out. Just let the market settle down, of course. And wait for the odds to get nice and tight. Then press that green button. You'll have a nice little profit. Liverpool and Brighton, well, in the live stream, I was talking about the half-time market. We've got that Liverpool equaliser there. Highly likely I'll lay the draw here, but if you want to delay, by all means do. Liverpool score all of their, well, 2/3 of their goals at home second half. They score a huge proportion of their goals 75th minute onwards. So if this does happen to be 1-1 in the 75th minute, or if Brighton are leading in the 75th minute, you know what to do. I'll be on hand to remind you. But cash out of your Feyenoord now. That's more like it with Feyenoord. Now, had I kept that 62, it would be looking very nice indeed, wouldn't it? So we're up to 40 quid. Take away the £11 lost liability here, and that's a 30 quid profit, which isn't too shabby. Would have been a lot more, of course, had I kept that at 62. That would have been looking at about £55 minus 11 would be £44, which is not bad at all. So I'll take the green, because we've had some losses recently with Peterborough and with all of these sides trying desperately to pick up points and really shocking the market makers. So take your green screens. The great thing about football, it's very fluid. If you don't get an opportunity to get your money back now, you certainly have an opportunity at a later date to get your cash back. So that's a nice green screen. We're picking up little amounts. We've got that Liverpool goal before half time, that kind of thing. We're just picking up little bits as we go along. So good stuff from Feyenoord. Excellent. Exactly what you'd expect of a 1.3 shot. The catalyst there, I think, if I've got the matches correct, was that Utrecht's second goal being a penalty. If I'm getting my matches, yeah, Lammers penalty. So Stephen Francis is very good at this, picking out the odd match and the type of goal, because it is important in determining your confidence factor. If it is only a penalty, then it's not really a deserved 0-2 lead. It's just been buffed up a little bit by that second penalty goal. So that's good stuff. Let's return to the in-play stats. Celta Vigo and Rayo Vallecano. Well, it was 0-0 in the last head-to-head. So that's why you drip lay, keep your liability as short as possible, and then you get opportunities like this, which will amply cover your lost liability elsewhere. So this is a real big, is it Celta? It's certainly Vallecano. Getafe. Right, getting a bit confused here. Yeah, Celta Vigo, Rayo Vallecano. Match must be over. Okay. Well, not doing that recovery from Hartberg. So it was speculative, but that's why you lay at 109 and back at 75s, because it's highly unlikely to occur. But well, there we go. They've put the cherry on top, 0-3. So you're not going to get that £6 back. The Feyenoord have made up for that. Should have laid the draw 20 in Heracles. That would have been a really nice odd swing. I don't know why I didn't. I think it was because of the lack of in-play stats, and I got my fingers burnt with Peterborough and a couple of other sides who not showing that shot on target stat well enough. Just waiting for Liverpool to get that second goal. Can they delay enough for the draw to get short enough for us to lay? Second half is beginning. Nice and Nantes. Arguable that Nantes are gettable here on the fact they don't score that second goal against the top 10. But only the one shot on target for Nice is yet another side not performing with the shots on target, which really puts a dampener on your enthusiasm, even though the pre-match research is telling you that Nantes don't tend to score that second goal against top sides. Get rid of Banach Ostrava. Looks like they've done a good job there. Trinity Selin. And we've got a red card for Karvina. Can Hradec Kralove take advantage second half? Maybe. Could be one to lay the draw second half there. And if the 10 men score first, the draw odds will rise hugely. Danish Super League and split into the Championship and relegation group. Got an odds on favourite there. So we'll have a look at that. Le Havre at home have been pretty good, but they are showing the kind of form of a newly promoted side now, aren't they? Starting to feel it a little bit. But Montpellier aren't all that either. Clermont Foot and Toulouse, well, you don't know what to make of this Toulouse side at all. Like Man United, very tough to read. Augsburg and Köln, well, I would have expected Augsburg to look for another one of their tight home wins, perhaps a 2-1 on this occasion, of course. But it's a must-win for Köln. 17th place. A win will really make a big difference to their season. And you know, having seen the Premiership relegation-threatened sides yesterday, they're not going to give up without a fight. That's for sure. Eredivisie, well done to Feyenoord. Get rid of that match now. And Twente, that was my angle in. Lay the draw. I wonder if Giz Hornkamp will get the goal for Heracles today. Or Giz coming all over the back of the defence. Celta Vigo Rayo, that's ended 0-0. Same as the last head-to-head. Girona, third in the league still. Deserving favourites. Tough in Secunda B today, Spanish Secunda. Against Sweden, we can't really play at this stage of the season. It's a guessing game completely. Unless you're a big gun like Malmo. But there will be plenty of trades over the summer months. Looking forward to the summer football. It doesn't just end in April. So Brighton are doing their bit, keeping Liverpool very quiet indeed. No shots on target yet, second half. That's music to our ears. Every second it remains 1-1. The Liverpool draw odds reduced markedly, and that would be the one of the only real angles in lay the draw. Well, the simplest angle is to lay the draw second half, because this is a must-win. I like about 3s or 3.5 and lower, so we're getting there. Alternately, if you're trusting the pre-match odds, you could back any other home at 5.8, 3-1 at 6.2. Show you how possibly you could do that. We're making an assumption that it will be a 3-1, but can't discount the 2-1. But then we're getting into increased liability territory if you're covering that 2-1. And then if you, let's have a look. See, with this kind of calculator, you can have a play around to see what the risk reward is like. If I'm using my usual £40 stake, that's okay. But 1-1, well, that's only a £10 extra to cover the current scoreline. And again, you're assuming that this is all going to be one-way traffic for Liverpool. That's an option. You've got the 1-1 covered. You've got the 2-1 covered. But it's a big risk amount, isn't it? £52. As I say, you're making a big assumption that Brighton won't score a second goal. But Liverpool look the dominant force. 4 shots on, 14 off, 43 dangerous attacks to 12. Nearly 4 times as many for Liverpool. 2-match winning run for Brighton was only 1-0. Great result against Roma. But that was a second leg, I believe, where Roma had already done the job with a 4-0 win. So put that into context. Not the most, well, a good win, but a tolerable loss, you'd argue, for Roma. They didn't need to win. Happy to take the 1-0 loss on aggregate. So it's all about Liverpool, when or if they'll score. We could try this Dutching correct scores. It's a market which is really well adapted for Dutching. And when you've got a variable profit Dutching, you can, I'll just do this as an experiment for you. But of course, that, Brighton could get a penalty. We can't legislate for penalties. So you've got the current scoreline covered as a break even. You've got the 2-1 covered as a break even. You're really pinning your hopes on a 3-1, any other home, a bit like what you'd expect of a 1.3 favourite. Nice and Nantes remains very, very quiet. But if you wanted to play based on the fact that Nantes
Has been suspended.
have not scored that second goal against top 10 sides away from home. So here, you could lay over 1.5 goals. Very high odds, but you're going to get better odds. This is just to show you if you wanted to play. You don't have to take insurance out. The match odds might be short enough. Do have a look, see if you can reduce your liability. I do like to take the insurance out myself. That's a route that I will take. So laying over 1.5 goals. It's a risky one because Nantes haven't turned up yet. Their in-play stats are pretty poor. But Nice +1 should be a lot higher than 1.6. I would say 2.2 or something like that. 2.44. So if you fancied this route, it is a risk. It's like the Nottingham Forest match yesterday. It's that kind of a risk. We don't have extremely strong stats with us. So if we get a late equaliser from Nice, you'd make 56 minus 24. It is a big liability, though, of £66 if it all goes south. So the preferred option, if you wanted to play, would be, I think, you could even just tickle the back of Nice at 9s plus and lay Nantes at 1.5 and lower. Every second we're delaying in the Liverpool match, we're getting those draw odds down, aren't we? So that's good stuff. Can Brighton keep them out? No shots on target second half yet for Liverpool. The story of a lot of matches this last few days, a huge amount of shots off target from fancied names. Was that an equaliser for Radek Kralove? No, it wasn't. We're just looking to see if they can end that draw, that red card, at some point. Augsburg and Köln as well. Augsburg would have eyed this for the 3 points today. It'll be a bit of a disappointment for them if they can't get that win today. I'll get rid of the Hartberg match. I don't need that. That's done. Last Glintz and Austria Klagenfurt. No strong opinion there. It's coming to an end anyway. Botiv Plovdiv, I'll give that one a miss. Danish Super League, Viborg, at least are odds on favourite. Give us something to work with. It looks a tough French League 1 coupon today. Don't have an opinion there. And we're just starting off with the Spanish Primera Liga, Girona and Betis. 3-2 for Feyenoord. Indeed, March Meadow. Celta suspended. It's a good goal. Good stuff from Feyenoord. We're just waiting on Liverpool. Don't forget that 75th minute plus for Liverpool. So let's have a look. Well, an odds on goal has come in. Is that Liverpool? No, it's Feyenoord. Putting the cherry on top, 4-2. Definitely cash out now. Really good stuff from Feyenoord today. That's what we expect of a 1.3 favourite. That is what we expect. We'll expect it of Stuttgart. We'll expected more goals from Twente today. And we're really expecting it of Liverpool. But I suggest a bit of nerves as well from the Anfield faithful today. Must win. You cannot drop points today. because Man City and Arsenal, one of these two or both, will be dropping points today. Still top. So if Arsenal and Man City is a draw later on, that will be a positive for Liverpool. But of course, the win adds another 2 points to this. Takes them to 67. That's a full win away for Arsenal and a win and a draw away for Manchester City. So those 2 points are vital. And indeed, a couple of points for Brighton. Take them up to 45, knocking on the door of the top 5, which is the key in the Premier League. The top 5, not 6th place. Looks like Man United could come up short. Do they believe they could have done with the Tottenham floundering yesterday, when it looked like Tottenham would flounder yesterday, but they got that important win to cement a top 5 place and to keep them alive for that Champions League spot currently held by Aston Villa. So it's warming up nicely. Let's go to the Liverpool market and see how low the draw odds are at the moment. Brighton doing a good job for us. Down to 3.5, that's what I like to see. See if I can get a little bit lower. Correct score? Well, you've got nothing to worry about when you've taken insurance out on the 1-1 and the 2-1. A goal from Liverpool next will ignite the 3-1 and any other home as well. But we are making a big assumption that you're not going to get a second goal from Brighton. It is a big assumption because you could get a penalty, couldn't you? We've seen some unlucky penalties recently. So 4 shots on, 16 off. That's the story of that match. I can't watch it for you because I'm on YouTube and we'll get a copyright issue. Nice and Nantes. Don't forget, with insurance, you can always do a Gareth. You can always bail out. And I'll show you that if Nantes continue to knock on the door, as they are doing. Well, just the 1 shot on target, but nothing doing from Nice at the moment. Pinning my hopes on Nantes not scoring that second goal against the top 10, as has been the case consistently this season. Augsburg and Köln, well, we'll wait for the second half there. It's going to be a poor result for Augsburg if they can't get a win against the Köln, with only 3 wins all season. Pretty emphatic recent win against Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga. We'll ignore that European friendly against Bundesliga's Zweite side. Really good result against Darmstadt as well. So they do have goals in them. Augsburg, only a 1-1 last head-to-head. Points vital for FC Köln. Try to get that relegation playoff place. Vitally important for them. Nothing much doing in the French league. Le Havre and Montpellier 0-0 at half-time. We can at least do some practice. How would you check to see if second half goals are expected? Well, the first check, of course, shots on target, shots off in corners. Pretty poor again. Shots on target. The second way to look is soccer stats. Have a quick look at Le Havre and Montpellier. And that's a Rapid Vienna ending 0-3, but it didn't cost us much. Another suspended mark. Is that the Liverpool goal? Have I delayed too long? Because one of our matches of interest has been suspended. Yes, indeed it is. I did wait too long. I should have gone with my 3.5 earlier on, shouldn't I? Which I did mention.
Liverpool Brighton is 2-1.
Yeah, it's heading up to 3-1. Any other home? Let's have a look at how that's impacted on the correct score market. So we'll look on variable profit Dutching the correct score market. Probably start. I'd like to get into more of this because it's a really good tool, isn't it? But the problem is liability will be a lot higher if you're particularly taking out insurance on certain score lines. So we were fine as long as the 1-1 was alive. We would have broken even. Now it's 2-1. We're breaking even on 2-1, but as I said to you, it's ignited the 3-1 and any other home. So now you've got your options at exit. If you're having the kind of session where you need to pick up some money, then by all means take the green. Look on it as 13% of your goal of 100, and then it's a nice chunk, isn't it? Then add that to your 41 quid you've made earlier on, and that 15 quid in before half time. Look at them as percentages. That's 41%, 15%, 13% here possibly, and that way these amounts look a lot more tolerable, don't they? And if you're new to trading, I would recommend you pick up these greens just to give you that confidence. But you can investigate the amount of time left. 66. Knowing that Liverpool score a huge number of goals, 75th minute onwards, it's not without the realms to expect the possibility of a third goal for Liverpool. And that would ignite the 35 quid. So if you're willing to take a break even, worst case scenario, of course, would be a Brighton goal. But then you're looking at the stats, and it looks like one-way traffic, doesn't it? 60 dangerous attacks to 19. That's a hell of a forward line as well. Don't forget 1.3, 3-1, any other home score is your expectation there. So that is how I interpret whether to take the green or to take the risk, because you're going to come out with a 1 penny loss after all this hard work rather than a £13 green. So up to you how you want to play. We could have laid the draw at 3.5 and lower as well. Look at the draw odds now. They'll be reaching 8s, I would suspect. There we go. Bang on the button at 8. So as a trader, that's a lay to back trade, isn't it? Nice and simple. Lay at 3.5, back off at 8.2. Very nice indeed. So that would have been a pretty good one at 3.5, which is what I did say earlier on. I would have liked 3.5, but I didn't act upon it. Did it get any lower? Probably not. I would say that's about 3.4. But look at the swing up. That's what you're after as a trader. Lay here, back here. Lovely to see. Oops.
This market has been suspended.
Another suspended market. One of our matches of interest. Not sure who it is. Maybe it's the final match ending. There's a Nice equaliser. Excellent stuff.
Nice Nance is 1-1.
Delighted with that. And that's what I do with French Ligue 1. I do research in play. And you saw that Nantes struggle with that second goal away against the top 10. Now, when you're using insurance, you can always cover that current scoreline, can't you? That's why I love this insurance principle, even though it does eat into your profit. But that's great news for Nice. This is what we were looking at, the challenge table. This is a vitally important piece of the jigsaw. Now, they're playing 5th today. Look at them away from home only. You're not looking at home form. Where's that second goal? Where's that second goal? Now, if they don't score that second goal and they're leading 0-1, insurance is perfect fit, isn't it? Because who do you think is going to score the next goal? It's going to be Nice, if there is going to be a next goal.
Hradec Kralov MFK Karvina is 2-1.
Oh, that was a red carded match, wasn't it? Hradec Kralov. Forgot about that one. Let's have a look at the potential profit now. Nice and Nantes. So you'll have lost what was a quite high insurance premium, £24.80. Now I need to make sure that this green screen here is at least bigger than £24.80, of course. £43.25, so It's nearly a 20 quid profit here. Okay, don't forget that 56 is not promised. That 56 is not yours yet. So, are you happy with that net profit? I would be. Let's just see if I can get that up to 24 to make it around 20 quid green. And again, that's 20% of your target. If you're looking for 3 figures for a trading session, 100 quid, that will be 20% of that. Add that onto that 41%, and that now Liverpool will make it 3-1. So let's just break off. That's what we expect of a 1.3 favourite. 3-0, 3-1, any other home score. So the correct score route is there for you. Now, one more goal from Liverpool with their famous goal scoring in the 75th minute plus. And we're guaranteed, as long as the match doesn't end 4-4, we are guaranteed £53.88. Now, you're making only a marginal gain here because you'll have this 2-1 should be out to 1,000. I don't know why it's still alive. Has the Liverpool goal been disallowed? This 2-1 should not be alive. It should be 1,000. It's finished. The market's finished if it's 3-1. So a bit of confusion because that should be dead in the water. 5.8. I don't understand. So is it VAR? Let's have a look. 3-1 now. Nice goal. Nice goal was a penalty. So thank you, Stephen. It might be that might give us the impetus to get the bleep out of Dodge, because they certainly weren't showing it with the in-play stats, were they, Stephen? So thank you for that. Oh, have I missed the opportunity? If this is 1-2 to Nantes, I will be kicking myself. It's important that because Nice weren't performing, and Stephen's quite right, point out that it was a penalty. Goal has been cancelled for Liverpool. That's why that 2-1 remains alive. But we're entering the point now, the 75th minute, where you're hoping that Liverpool will get that third goal. This is where they do their damage. And you'd think that Jurgen Klopp of sparkly teeth would be looking for a 2-goal buffer, given that Manchester City and Arsenal will be taking points. One of them will be dropping points today, or both. That's exactly why I should have cashed out at the 1-1. Now it's going to be a big stretch to expect Nice to score a second consecutive goal. So I should have cashed out. And this is a lesson to you. As soon as you've cashed out, it doesn't matter what happens afterwards at all. That was a nice 20 quid profit. So let's just see if that non-goal stands. Looks as if it does. So I should have got out. That was a nice 20 quid green, wasn't it? So I hope you cashed out. Particularly with Stephen's information that it was only a penalty, because Nice were not turning up today, were they? And now Nantes have done the one thing they haven't done all season, and that's score that second goal against the top 10 side away from home. This is why I don't like this French Ligue. It's very, very competitive. So I'll put that down as a profit. It should have been a profit. I should have cashed out, particularly knowing about that penalty, as you see here. Moffy penalty. So now Nantes, again, a penalty for Nantes. We can't legislate for these penalties, alas. So just very bad luck with penalties at the moment. PSV missing one yesterday would have turned the whole match around, I think, and produced a pretty decent return, because I would have expected PSV to have made it 3-3 had that Luc de Jong goal gone in. Well, they've taken advantage of the red card for Radek Kralove. I was just monitoring that one. We do have an option to lay the draw second half in a red card match. And if the team with 11 players scores, the odds will rise hugely. I take this off the watch list. Liverpool, Nice and Nantes, just a bad decision on my part not to cash out, particularly with Stephen passing on the penalty information there. Allsvenskan, well, it's very difficult to interpret at this stage of the season. Mjällby beating Häcken as well, and Häcken beating Mjällby last season doesn't make it easy at all. Of course, there's only going to be cup matches and friendlies as form, but this is a good summer league. It's going to be there available for you, the Allsvenskan and the Superettan underneath. You could look at last year as a possible way of interpreting opening matches. Where are these two sides relative to each other, that kind of thing. So Malmo and Elfsborg were the two absolutely dominant forces, the only sides to hit 60 points last season. And at the bottom, any of these survivors, Degerfors, Bromma, Gothenburg, Halmstad, could be struggling this season. Similar story with the Superettan. You'll find that information under Sweden. I'll just get my Football 24 back up. So you'll find that. Västerås all the way to Eskilstuna. Västerås newly promoted. Gaias newly promoted. Not sure if what Sigtons were. So don't forget to know your newly promoted, newly relegated. And Norway, Norwegian Eliteserien, will be with us very, very soon this season. The new part of the Eliteserien table not up just yet, but we've had the cup in Norway, so we're going to have the Norwegian Eliteserien very soon. It's a great league to trade. Bodo Glimt went one season 100% at least a goal before half time, 100% over 2.5 goals, or scoring 2+ goals. Quite outstanding a few seasons ago. Augsburg Köln, arguable you'll be looking for an Augsburg winner, but Köln could do with the 3 points. But Augsburg have been in decent nick. It's scoring 2+ goals for fun. It's just whether you trust them or not. They're not one of these shining lights in the Bundesliga by any stretch, but a good opportunity, I think, against a stuttering Köln, who only seem to get the best in draws. The most recent draw was in a friendly, so to be ignored. But you can see Augsburg's ability to score that second goal could come into play here today. 2 recent wins at home have been 1-0 and 2-1. 1-1 in the last head-to-head is a concern, of course, if you're taking on the draw. So we'll see how that one plays out. We're just looking for that Liverpool 3-1, which would be rather nice. 2-1 is a bit concerning if you're looking to nab 3 points. Brighton are no also rans. And Liverpool coming off the back, of course, of that 2-2 against Man United. Fantastic FA Cup match. So they'd rather not be conceding a second goal so late in a must-win day for them. The simplest angle in there today was a lay the draw second half. If you can delay to get to 3.5 or lower, you'll get a decent enough odds swing. Elsewhere, well, as you can see, Augsburg are starting to warm up nicely enough. I would have expected a positive from them today. Hradec Králové, well, should have laid the draw second half, really, because look at the draw odds now, up to 11s. It doesn't matter what league. If you've got an angle in, like the red card angle, is a very good angle. Because if the 11 players score, you're going to get doubly impacted in your odds movement. Not just by the goal, but by the red card. It's hugely impact the swing in the odds that you're after. Get rid of the Liverpool match now. We know we've locked in the profit. or I know my final result will be 1 penny loss if it ends 2-1. Well, Le Havre, Montpellier, 2.7 the favourite, but this is at the 80th minute. So if this was, for example, a 0-2 lead in the 20th minute, you'd be taking on Montpellier, really. Such short odds, but it looks as if it's done and dusted there. Similar story, Clermont Foot and Toulouse. Toulouse, strange side. They can put together a run of ridiculous losses, and then they can be beating some really big names all of a sudden. 10 shots off target and 12 corners for Clermont Foot. I like the 12 corners. If you wanted a throwaway lay of Toulouse, if they can continue that corner count, this should have been a profit, shouldn't it? You've got to get out. If you want a trouble-free existence, well, I'm not going to be laying Toulouse now. I was going to have a look at them at 0-2 up, but not at 0-3. So you could take the red. It'll be a reminder to you that greening up guarantees your future. Any profit you make once you've greened up, it's guaranteed. If you're speculating and umming and ahhing, you're always going to fall foul of an errant penalty for Nantes in what is a very tight defensive game, this one. 2 penalties, 1 for each side. So it's a bit quiet at the moment. To see what we've got upcoming. I will be doing a live stream tomorrow because we've got our old pals, the English Championship, English League One, English League Two, and we've got a number of early kickoffs. We've got the likes of Dundalk, Wexford and Cork. I know it's too early in the Irish season, but we've also got Italian Serie A, which is great to see on a Monday. Buongiorno. Early kickoffs. So it's and we've got the Allsvenskan to keep an eye out on. We've got a few odds on favourites there, of course, but pure guesswork. Elfsborg, though, looked to be a side worth following, as you saw with Malmo, one of only 2 sides to reach 60+ points last season. So it's a good old coupon tomorrow. So I'll do a live stream for you, probably 3 o'clock start, although as you can see Midtjylland as well, familiar Danish side, and we've got the English Championship, which is a robust coupon tomorrow. Looks really good, doesn't it? Don't forget, we've going to have to tread very warily because we're getting a lot of upsets, getting a lot of relegation threatened sides pulling it out the fire. So make sure you know your standings. Make sure, particularly at the bottom, if they're playing a top side, they might get a strange result. But Rotherham are the exception to the rule. They're down. They are 3 points waiting for their opponent, Rotherham. Huddersfield, Sheffield Wednesday, Birmingham, Plymouth. Arguably Blackburn and QPR in the relegation dogfight. 39 plus 3 takes you to 42. Must-win territory for Brum, Huddersfield, Sheffield Wednesday tomorrow. Relegation playoff places, Coventry with a win takes them to within a point of Norwich, who got that excellent come-from-behind win recently. Leeds and Ipswich will be trying to keep Leicester out. Must win for Leicester with a game in hand to try to break into the top 2. Saints, looks like they'll only be aiming for a playoff place, but they're one of the only sides on 70+ points, which is a positive for them. Mid-table sides, well, you're waiting for the queue to get into the promotion playoff places. Coventry, Preston lead that. So plenty. But pay attention, particularly to this lot. This is desperation stakes. Sheffield Wednesday, Huddersfield, Birmingham, Plymouth. Sheffield Wednesday, Huddersfield, Birmingham, Plymouth. Sheffield Wednesday, Huddersfield, Birmingham, and Plymouth. Where are Plymouth? against Bristol City. So I would be starring these ones tomorrow to pay particular attention to, particularly if, for example, you've got an odds-on favourite in Middlesbrough against Sheffield Wednesday. We might get a shock result. 2.6, the favourite, is opening up the match to Plymouth, giving them an opportunity. 2.05 is not a strong favourite in Stoke, so Huddersfield are given a chance here as well. Must win for Leicester tomorrow. So that's how I would approach these matches, as well as taking account of the odds on favourites as well. So English League One. Again, main focus is on the relegation threatened sides. Looks like Carlisle are out of it, but with a win, take them to a psychologically important 30 points. But they've still got, well, they're out of it, aren't they? 12 points just to get to Port Vale. So we'd be looking mostly really at Fleetwood, Cheltenham, Port Vale, Burton, Cambridge arguably as well. Cambridge, Burton, Port Vale, Cheltenham, Fleetwood. Oh, let me get that back. So there's Fleetwood, Cheltenham, Cambridge, who got that shock result against Barnsley, was it? One of my losses the other day. That's what I'm telling you about these sides. They can pull it out the fire. Look at the odds for Barnsley pre-match. And Duran getting the opening goal. 1.4 the favourite. So I don't think at this stage of the season we can really trust the market. The market's not factoring in must-win territory. So I wouldn't be discounting Cambridge today or tomorrow, or any of these relegation threatened sides like Fleetwood against Oxford. Might just get the odd result that they need. If you wanted to have a singled out live standing, click on the team itself and you'll get this will turn into live standings as the match is in play, and it will highlight to you both of these two teams and where they are in the league, as you can see here. So you can immediately see that 3 points would be very effective for Bolton in an attempt to break into that 80+ point barrier, get them to automatic promotion spot. Reading, a bit too near the relegation zone, but a 6 point buffer. What chance? A 9 point buffer. Take them up to 48 points and 15th place. You saw what a string of results have done for Exeter, who are way down in the relegation zone. So plenty of excitement tomorrow. Just want to make sure that we don't get those shock results or get on the wrong end of those shock results. In English League 2, no goals coming in, by the way. Looks like Liverpool might be aiming for that 2-1. Forest Green, well, still alive. Forest Green and Sutton, so it's a less harsh English League 2. Only two sides going down, but Forest Green, Sutton, Colchester, Grimsby. So Forest Green, Sutton, Colchester and Grimsby. Forest Green, Grimsby and Sutton. I think those are the main sides. So that's coming up tomorrow. Hope you can join me. It's normally my day off, but it looks I've had a good time with a couple of weeks quiet. So time to get back into action. Looks like Liverpool will be settling for that 2-1, which will bring me a break even, which is a pity. And as you can see, if you greened up, that 13 quid would be in the bank now, wouldn't it? Had you greened up here, that 20 quid would be in the bank. So please remember, the profit you see is not promised. It's best case scenario. The green screen is promised if you want to take it. Looks like Augsburg are warming up nicely, but that four's been there for a while. No shot on target second half yet. 15 minutes into the second half. Plenty of shots off target. As long as they keep Köln quiet, they could nick this. And nothing doing second half at all for Köln. So the second half has belonged to Augsburg, the first 15 minutes of it, but no shots on target yet. That's probably down to FC Köln, I would say. Very defensive layup for them. Nantes' second goal was a pen indeed. Yeah, Ashley's quite right with Nice. But arguably, Ashley, we would have made a profit with that 1-1. But that one goal being a penalty, Nantes goal being a penalty as well, it's a pretty poor game, isn't it, from an attacking perspective. But I would welcome a Nantes second goal, but it's very rare. A Nice second goal, sorry. It's very rare. And like Mainz, 15 occasions without that second goal. They scored 2, but one of those was a penalty. Similar story for Nantes as well. So it's a bit of a quiet session at the moment. Don't know for how much longer I'll continue. Well, we'll all want to be watching Man City and Arsenal, so I won't be going after 4:30. But we do have that Stuttgart game, which is pretty good. Almere's just begun. Strong favourite against another side like Köln, like Darmstadt. Can't buy a win this season. Like Rayo Vallecano. Can't buy a win. Girona 34 minutes in. Having an excellent season, but anything doing there? No shots on target, no shots. One shot off, no corners just yet. Very quiet for them. Nice are threatening, but we could have made a profit there, couldn't we? So we'll get rid of that one. And Mladá Boleslav and Trinity Zlin, don't have an opinion there. So calling it a day soon, I think, because it's just getting quiet, isn't it? 4:30 for the next set of big matches. Man City, Stuttgart, odds on. 5:30 for Alaves and Real Sociedad. So just a little bit quiet now. Hacken, we don't know anything about. Start of the Allsvenskan season. Jupiler League, 5:30. So may call this a day at 4 o'clock because there's little to keep us interested. 2 weeks ago on a Sunday, it was a wonderful Sunday. Top quality football throughout. Very readable matches and a lot of profit made that Sunday as well. But this is turning out to be your usual Sunday. It's not going to be ever going to be as interesting as a Saturday coupon, is it? So 4 o'clock, I'll call it a day, but I'll be up and around certainly for the 4:30 kickoffs and onwards. We're entering, I think, the Championship group now in the Austrian Bundesliga, Championship and Relegation group. So there's going to be no tough opponent, no easy opponents for these sides anymore. This is a first against second. Strange to see Red Bull Salzburg not odds on favourites. So that's a clue in itself that they're in for a tough afternoon. So I think Liverpool, yeah, remains 2-1 unless they've got a third goal in them, which would be very nice indeed. I'm sure they'll take the win today. I've got break even on the 2-1. But it's certainly something I'm going to be trying a lot more is correct score Dutching. I think it'll be something we can look into a lot more. It's a great way of playing a number of different score lines, covering a lot of different score lines, and I hope of picking up at least one of them, or in this case, breaking even. We've got 2 minutes to go, and looks like the forwards, McAllister, Diaz and Salah. We did get a disallowed goal from Diaz, which would have been a pity. That would have been a nice 3-1. Cody Gakpo on late on for Diaz. Hopefully we can pick up that third goal, but a win is a win. That's what Liverpool are after today. But 2-1 is a very straining scoreline when you're only a goal ahead. So we will see. But break even, 1p loss, with a £15 gain in the half-time market. So a profitable match to trade, but very hard to work out when you're such short price favourite conceding such an early goal. So let's see what's going on at the moment. Still good secondary stats for Augsburg, but that 4 has remained the same now for going on 20 minutes. It's certainly one to target the late lay the draw, because Augsburg will have been expecting 3 points. Köln will be looking for 3 points, and having scored a goal against the run of play, they'll be quite confident, but just a one shot on target. A couple of shots off target now, the second half,
Market has been suspended.
and a corner. That's likely the end of the Liverpool match, or I could do with a goal. Be very nice indeed. See a nice red dot there, but no, it looks as if it'll end 2-1. Now that's the Nice match ending as well. So should have been a green screen there in the Nice match. That's a 20 quid profit, you know, that's not to be sniffed at, particularly at the stakes that we use. It's relatively high for that market. So Liverpool remains alive for the 3-1, but we're unlikely, I think, today to get such luck. Almere and Volendam. Well, Volendam are so poor, they're automatically gettable, aren't they? But no goal yet for Almere. 1 shot on 2 off. And that's a Desmond Tutu, Miroslav Boleslav, which I left alone. That's come in, 3-2. Racing Ferrol catching the eye earlier on against Elche, 11th against 5th. Tough league to predict today. 2.5 the favourite, that kind of thing. I would be expected of Almere City today against Volendam, but too many draws for them. But a nice 1-1 against Vitesse, 1-1 against Utrecht, which is a good result. 2-2 against Heracles, but Volendam conceded 8 goals in the last 2 matches. Well, one of them was a friendly only, but conceded 5 against NEC Nijmegen. Liverpool ends 2-1, so you could have taken a £13 green. But as things stand, correct score Dutching, I make a penny loss there. So it's effectively a break even with the opportunity of a £35 profit there. So that's okay. I'm quite happy with that. Most importantly, that 51 is all returned to your betting bank. So had I just gone with 3-1 any other home, I'd have lost. So insurance can help. A must win for Liverpool, wasn't it? And Mo Salah did the job today. So that's about it, I think. Certainly some matches of interest, but we've got the Championship relegation group now in Super League as well in Greece. So again, these two sides were vying for the title. Very tough to split. So I'm going to say good night to you now. Just a lack of matches. But 4:30, I'll be back to monitor some of the more readable matches. Thank you very much for coming along. And I'll see you again tomorrow, if you want to, for yet another